In today's video, we've got exciting news about God of War, a brand new action game coming to PlayStation 4 from a familiar studio, and it looks like Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is real. More on that in a little bit. Let's first talk about the very exciting news about God of War, and that is the fact that the game will have no microtransactions. It's kind of unfortunate that at this point in 2018, we have to take news of a game not having microtransactions as a gigantic positive, but that's where we've come to. We've seen a lot of single-player titles hampered by microtransactions. Even pretty good games like Middle-earth: Shadow of War and Assassin's Creed Origins, those games were littered with microtransactions, and while they weren't necessarily game-breaking, some may argue on that, but I'm not going to get into that debate right now. It's just more games introducing microtransactions just kind of hints at a bleak future, but it looks like the brand new PlayStation 4 exclusive in God of War will not have microtransactions, and that was confirmed by director Cory Barlog. Someone asked Barlog on Twitter saying, quote, "Will there be microtransactions in the game? Outfitters for real money?" And he just responded putting a rest to that right away, saying no freaking way with 3 exclamation points. So that is great to see. And with a game like God of War, this is one where I just wouldn't understand microtransactions at all. This is more of a linear action adventure game. To introduce microtransactions to it and maybe even edit game design so it benefits microtransactions, we've seen that in games in the past, so don't think I'm crazy for saying that, but thank God that will not be happening with God of War. And the anticipation for this game is growing and growing as we're heading closer and closer to the April 20th release. I cannot wait for this game, and parlayed with the news of the Day 1 edition box art, which looks excellent, and we've got a limited edition PlayStation 4 Pro also for those of you that are interested in that. The hype for God of War is really starting to build, and we are just over a month until the game's release on April 20th. Moving on from that, the PS4 is getting a brand new third-person action game from a very familiar studio at Ready at Dawn. If you guys don't know, Ready at Dawn are the most famous for their work on the Order 1886, possibly one of the most disappointing PlayStation 4 exclusives of this generation, but we saw with the Order 1886 that really pushed the console from a technical standpoint. However, everything else in the Order 1886 ranged from bland to not very good at all. Although the presentation and the storytelling were interesting, it just didn't feel like a rounded out experience. Ready at Dawn says that they are working on, quote, "a new AAA third-person action console title based on a brand new original IP." Since they say brand new original IP, I would assume that this is not a sequel to the Order 1886. I personally would have loved a sequel because I was so enthralled by the premise of the Order 1886, but I definitely understand why without Sony's backing for a brand new game. And honestly, I don't blame Sony for not backing a sequel to the Order 1886. It's just a personal desire of mine. I really want to see what Ready at Dawn can do with this universe that they've built, because there was a lot of potential there, but they really fumbled on setting a great foundation with the Order 1886. Whatever they do in the future, I am interested. The Order 1886 isn't the only game Ready at Dawn did. They worked on a couple of the handheld God of War titles, and those were very good. The Order 1886 was really their first foray into a big budget AAA game, and they kind of fumbled in that area, which is very unfortunate, but hopefully they can get back on track with their next game. Since the launch of the Order 1886, they have worked on a couple of other titles, such as Deformers and Lone Echo. Deformers was a multi-platform title, and Lone Echo was an Oculus title. Ready at Dawn has had a partnership with Sony, but they are not a first-party studio. They're more of a second-party studio, and they have worked on multi-platform titles. As I mentioned, Deformers was multi-platform, so this game might end up being a title that appears on both the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and maybe PC. Who knows, but it's been a while since their release of their last big-budget game in the Order 1886, so hopefully this new game is moving along nicely. And finally, we want to talk a little bit about the latest Call of Duty game. What's reported to be Call of Duty Black Ops 4 gets more evidence of it being real. Kotaku has its sources also confirmed that Black Ops 4 is the next Call of Duty, and the most recent piece of news actually comes from a very odd source. Over on NBA's Twitter, you can see Houston Rockets player James Harden dressed up full in camo and wearing a hat that's very resemblant of the logo for Black Ops 3. Kind of odd, but this wouldn't be the first time that a sports star collaborated with Call of Duty. We saw Conor McGregor work with Call of Duty in the past, so there might be more evidence here than you might initially think. Who knows, but at this point, Call of Duty has kind of carved out its own fan base, and I don't think anything the franchise can do, even if they do really revamp it, it can't really draw in those that aren't a big fan of the series, because at this point they've done a lot that they've could, and completely changing the franchise would probably annoy ardent fans of the series, but Call of Duty is something that is always going to be a yearly juggernaut. So that is going to cap off this video. What do you think? What are your thoughts on God of War having no microtransactions? Are you interested in Ready at Dawn's new game, a third-person action console title based on a brand new original IP? And are you interested at all about Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.